Hello viewers, this is Paladin of Odin, and this is some more Magic the Gathering Online. This is another episode of the Standard Commentary Series, and it looks like we've got green-white tokens versus probably Gruul Werewolves? Possibly just Gruul Aggro. The reason why I started recording was I was actually very curious to see how he uses Lupine Prototype, since it is quite alluring to try and manage to use a 2-drop 5/5. You know, the downside is obvious. You know, it can't attack or block unless a player has no cards in hand. Now, that can be your opponent, which would be the ideal situation, but, you know, that's probably not going to happen very often. So I'm wondering what this guy has up his sleeve. Either way, he played Earthen Arms on his Duskwatch Recruiter, turning it into a 4/4. And then the Looming Spires made it a 5/5 first strike. So that got through for free. The only problem is that green-white tokens is rolling out hard and fast here. And now he has nothing to defend himself against a 3/3 Duskwatch, a 3/3 Thalia's Lieutenant, and a 3/2 Thalia Heretic Cathar. And he doesn't have a choice but to take the 9 damage and go to 3. And this is pretty much his last chance. I don't really see him being able to manage to pull the game out. And unfortunately for him, Thalia, her ability kind of screws her here. You know, Silver for Partisan comes into play tapped, so it can't block. All the wolf tokens that he might use, you know, combat tricks to make come into play tapped. So, yeah, there was no way for him to win there. But let's go on to game 2. Like I said, I'm very curious about the Lupine prototype, whether or not he has a plan for it, or whether it's just a, you know, late game hope. But let's see. He's running some odd cards that you don't typically see. Alright, so first turn Village Messenger from the green-red side. And it is looking like he's running green-red Werewolves. Oath of Nissa from the other side. So, you know, he's got a better start than green-white right now. He has a creature that has haste, so on his next turn, you know, he has plenty of options for a turn 2 drop. Most of them, though, don't affect the turn, really. I mean, theoretically, he could drop the that land that he did the last time and make it a 2/2 first strike, but... Okay, Evolved Wilds. Yeah, the only problem that I foresee with the Werewolf deck is... Oh, Titan Strength. Nice! Turns it into a 4/2. So that's 5 total damage, and it's only turn 2. But like I was saying, the only problem I foresee for the Werewolf deck is the problem that Werewolves have had, is they're not nearly reliably powerful enough to win in matchups against decks like green-white tokens, which, if memory serves, is the second most populous deck list in Standard right now. Duskwatch Recruiter from green-white, and Looming Spires. Alright, makes it a 2/2 first strike, so most likely we'll just go straight through. I highlight that at this stage he's going to chump block with a Duskwatch Recruiter. Earthen Arms to make it a 4/4 first strike. And gets through for 4, so he's down to 11. That's 9 damage in 3 total turns. I have to say, you know, Earthen Arms isn't great, but it's a permanent bonus. You know, Titan Strength is better in the one-off combat situation, but it's a one-off. At least with Earthen Arms, you're putting permanent +1/+1 counters on your creature. But at the same time, it's not that great. And worse, it would be better if you could split the counters up so that you had the option of putting one counter on two creatures. Sylvan Advocate. Easily one of the best cards in Standard right now. Alright, another Looming Spires. So, another 4/4 first strike turn. Gyre Reach Bandit. Attacking all in. Yeah, I was thinking at this early stage, I would block with Sylvan Advocate to kill off the 3/2. Because, Sylvan Advocate is great and all, but, it only really becomes really great when you have 6 lands, and you're a couple of turns away from that easily. So, knocking down the field in combat versus a deck like this is not a bad choice, especially with the volume of damage that he's been able to push through. Green-white is down to 7. And the funny thing about this is that we have seen some new cards from Eldritch Moon on the Werewolf side, but they haven't really had any lasting effect. Just had to double check to make sure Looming Spires wasn't from Eldritch Moon. Thalia's Lieutenant. So now he's got 2 3/3 Duskwatch Recruiters. So unless the Werewolves deck has a combat trick, most likely he's going to get his Village Messenger blocked. Well, at this low life, I'd say definitely going to get blocked. But Green-white's going in with one of his Duskwatch Recruiters to get 3 damage in. Now, the interesting thing is, both of these decks at the moment are on very similar hand count. Zada. Okay. So it's a Zada werewolf deck, which I'm surprised I haven't seen earlier. I mean, she makes for a great combo for werewolves, given the fact that you kind of have to run combat tricks to make them get through. So, some Earthen Arms on Zada is ridiculous. Instead of a Titan Strength, I'll attack all in, and then my creatures go back to normal. An Earthen Arms on all of my creatures. Ooh, and no place from Green-white. That'll transform the Village Messenger into the Moonlight or Moonrise Intruder, which has Menace. It's now a 4/4 Menace and can only be, Menace can only be blocked by 2 creatures. So Werewolves passes the combat, goes to his second main phase, and throws the Lupine Prototype, which, since he has no cards in hand, is able to attack and or block. And since the Prototype is a 5/5, ooh, Stasis Snare to get rid of the 5/5. I was kind of expecting him to go after Zada since she can be ridiculously broken, but, the 5/5 being able to block this turn was kind of hard to deal with. It meant that he most likely wouldn't be able to attack in. But something I just realized about the Lupine Prototype is the fact that that is one of the downsides to running a fast aggressive deck like, green red werewolves or red deck wins or decks similar to that, is the fact that you run out of cards very quickly. So theoretically, running a 2-drop 5/5 that is only good when you have no cards in hand would go perfectly in decks like these. In fact, I want to say that it might even fit into White Weenie. But then again, the instance of them not having cards in hand is even less than decks like Red Deck Wins. But it's a possibility. All right, so Green White is attacking with both of his 4/4 Krolin Horde Howler. I have to admit, I am surprised that he hasn't thrown down any creatures, given that they are too generic, less to cast. But 2/4/4s going in. Theoretically, Werewolves could choose to just take the 8 damage and go to 9. And hope that he has a way to get through on the next attack, because he only needs to deal 7 damage. And that can be easily achieved with a Titan Strength on this Moonrise Intruder, provided Green-White doesn't have a trick. But Moonrise Intruder is going to block a Howler. They trade. So unfortunately for Werewolves, it's fast becoming a... Well, he's fast losing steam here. I mean, he did just throw down Village Messenger, but he has no cards in hand. Secure the Waste for 4. And that's exactly enough to kill both of the attacking creatures. And like I said, Werewolves has no cards in hand. He has no combat trick to play. So that'll wipe out his board and pretty much seal the deal for this game. And straight into combat from Green-White. 5 damage, takes him down to 8. Ouch, Green-Red top decked a land. And secure the Waste at the end of turn for 4, and that's the game. And the match. Well, unfortunately for the Werewolves decks, it doesn't look like they've really gotten much of a boost from Eldritch Moon. But I do like some of the ideas that this guy's deck had. It just, against a deck as reliably strong as Green-White, I just can't really see them winning except in those outside chances of, Green-White getting mana screwed or, the shuffler hating them. It's kind of sad. I really like the idea of the werewolf deck. It's just I don't think that it's going to be able to compete in standard anytime soon. Probably not until the next block where werewolves become prevalent. So, unfortunately, Werewolves lost that one. I've babbled on long enough, so that was Green-White Tokens versus Green-Red Werewolves. And if you liked what you saw, hit that like and subscribe button for me, and I'll see you in the next video.